Greetings one and all to Main Game, the video game show marks the X when it comes to all things excellent about video games. I'm your host Ifa and we have the excellent Larcombe from Kakuchopurei joining me once again.
Thank you, Ifa. This show is going to draw a circle around the long-requested topic, the PlayStation. And we are going to triangulate the most iconic PlayStation games from the console's first debut all the way back in 1994 until today, the PlayStation 4.
And to square things off, here is our first segment for the show, Lowdown. I believe that children are our future, with parents and older generations like ourselves to teach them well and let them lead the way, at least on my side. So Luis, were your parents, accepting of your gaming habits?
Very accepting. Although they didn't game themselves, they actually struck a very good balance between, well, allowing me to game all I wanted, as long as I maintained decent grades at school. But how about you, Aoife?
Well, as for me, my parents were quite strict, to be honest, but they did give me the, a chance to play games as long as I maintain my grades, just like you. And as for me, being a parent myself, I would definitely give it a go for my kids, because nowadays gaming is just the in thing, and I see a bright future. And knowing that we talk about esports almost every week, yeah, basically I will support him all the way, but also to maintain the social life, academic, as well as the esports.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, but viewers, all this talk about parents and gaming is relevant because we are in an era where the age of exposure to gaming is getting lower and lower. Your kids or younger cousins or even younger siblings might be playing R-rated games unsupervised.
That's right. Okay, so Luis, we managed to talk to a few parents with gaming backgrounds, who have their own kids and are gaming with them. So find out how they do it here in our first future segment.
In today's technologically driven world, the question whether parents should allow their children to engage in video games at an early age has become a prominent concern. As parents who themselves enjoy gaming, the decision becomes even more complex. Balancing the potential benefits of early gaming with its potential drawbacks requires thoughtful consideration and a comprehensive approach that takes into account both the child's development needs and the role of technology in their lives.
I think we started when Elijah was 5 and when Elizabeth was 8, so that way they can play together.
My eldest can play games, my youngest is trying his best to play games.
Parents must be vigilant about the types of games their children are exposed to. Age-appropriate content is paramount, as exposure to violent or inappropriate themes can have negative effects on a child's emotional and psychological development. It's without a doubt that the online sphere can be a double-edged sword. While it offers learning opportunities and interactive experiences, it also harbors hidden risks that can pose potential threats to children's safety. This concern is further amplified when considering online gaming.
We play Switch Sports, Ring Fit, sometimes Animal Crossing, and with my son, he likes to play Astro Playroom on my PS5.
I played platformers and maybe a bit of sports or racing games with them, since they love cars. They're in the middle of a Hot Wheel craze right now, so I bought the new Hot Wheels Unleashed to play with them.
They're quite family friendly. They are quite easy to get into, especially for the street sports and Ring Fit, and they are not very violent as well.
The appeal of the colorfulness and a bit of action, the kiddie action and all that kind of attracts them to try out these games.
For parents who game, introducing their children to the world of gaming can be a unique bonding experience. Playing games together can create shared memories and foster a sense of camaraderie within the family. Rather than a solitary pursuit, gaming becomes a shared experience that strengthens the bonds between parent and child.
I try to follow his instructions on the characters. That way, it's a way of us bonding together.
A significant concern with early gaming is the potential for excessive screen time. Prolonged exposure to screens can have adverse effects on the child's physical health, sleep patterns, and social interactions. Therefore, it becomes crucial for parents to establish clear and reasonable time limits for gaming.
I would set a sleeping time, like let's say 9 p.m., and then the switch just turn off.
Once, and I think that was by accident.
Screen time boundaries extend beyond time limits. They encompass the types of activities engaged in during that time. While technology offers valuable learning opportunities, excessive exposure can hinder physical well-being, social interactions, and cognitive development. Establishing a structured schedule that designates specific hours for screen-based engagement and active play helps children cultivate a sense of discipline and self-regulation.
We only play on Friday and Saturday evenings for at least 45 minutes only before their bedtime. So there's a routine there.
As parents who game, establishing dialogue with children about their gaming experiences can facilitate a deeper understanding of their interests and preferences. Regular conversations can also provide opportunities to impart valuable lessons about responsible gaming, ethical behavior in online environments, and the importance of time management.
Let's play one more match, and then I let him win. You know, these kids can be sore losers, so I let him win one more match, and then he'll be so happy, he'll be relieved, and then he'll be happy to go to bed. So yeah, it's a matter of sacrificing your pride as well in letting your kids feel much better.
Having grown up with gaming as an integral part of their life, they possess a comprehensive understanding of both the positive aspects and potential pitfalls of the medium. As they transition into parenthood, they approach the prospect of involving their children in their hobby with a sense of thoughtfulness and nuance. The synergy between monitoring and communication is undeniable. Parents who monitor their children's online activities while fostering open conversations creates a harmonious balance that safeguards their well-being while respecting their autonomy.
I love games, and if they love games, why not we play together? So that way I am able to actually, keep an eye and also to bond with my children, right?
Ultimately, parents who game have the potential to empower their children to become discerning, responsible, and tech-savvy individuals who navigate the digital world with confidence and competence.
Cynthia, I agree with Cynthia when she says she loves games. Those are some great answers from Cynthia, Adri and Kwan, parents who play game with their respective kids. I see Nintendo Switch being brought up a lot, I take it that's the default console for all ages gaming?
Indeed it is, and although I personally think that Nintendo's pretty much stuck to their guns since their earlier consoles, as family experience has always been at the center of their marketing strategy up until today. You think Nintendo, you think family-friendly consoles, all ages gaming.
So apart from the Nintendo Switch with its family-oriented games, what other consoles would you recommend?
To keep in theme with this episode, we have to go with the PlayStation 5, I feel. It's backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 4 titles, and there are a lot of all ages games that you can play on it. The PS5 already has a free game inside called Astro Boy's Playroom. You control a cute little robot as it explores the 3D world filled with the PlayStation history and robots cosplaying as iconic PlayStation heroes like The Last of Us's Ellie and Joel and God of War's Kratos and many, many more.
That sounds like some rich gaming history we should tap on. One that we will touch upon on this show, but for now, let's push the start button and pause for now. We will be right back after these commercials. Malaysia's video game history and industry wouldn't be what it is without this one particular first-party company. This is the history of PlayStation and why it's an important milestone in video game culture. Roll it.
As the 1990s dawned, the landscape of the gaming realm was dominated by just two names, Sega and Nintendo. Yet as this era unfolded, an unexpected interloper emerged from an entirely different realm altogether, Sony,
The one and only.
a company renowned for its prowess in consumer electronics. Little did the world know that this unconventional contender was poised to reshape the entire gaming industry with an innovation that will go on to become legendary, the PlayStation. Sony, a consumer electronics company with no gaming experience, embarked on a journey to create a revolutionary console that would reshape the gaming world. The company's gamble was on the PlayStation, a console that aimed to bring the arcade experience to people's homes with cutting-edge 3D graphics and CD-ROM technology, i.e. a lot of space. The shift from expensive cartridges to cost-effective CDs allowed Sony to attract game developers and publishers, revolutionizing game production and distribution. The initial skepticism within Sony's ranks couldn't deter Ken Kutaragi, often referred to as the father of PlayStation. He pushed Sony to create its gaming machine, refusing to back down. Despite challenges and doubts, Sony PlayStation's marketing and development teams persevered and established a new vision for gaming. PlayStation's marketing was groundbreaking, targeting a young rebellious attitude that set it apart from its more family-oriented competitors. Sony launched the PlayStation first in Japan at the tail end of 1994, selling 100,000 units on launch day, quickly surpassing the Sega Saturn. The PlayStation's launch in Japan was marked by the release of several notable games, including the highly acclaimed
Ridge Racer!
The racing game became a symbol of the PlayStation's technological prowess and played a crucial role in driving the initial success of the console. The introduction of PlayStation in the US was marked by a daring move. Then PlayStation head of development Steve Race announced the console's price at
$299,
undercutting the Sega Saturn by 100. This bold move propelled the PlayStation to success in the American market, effectively establishing Sony as the leader. The PlayStation's library of games was diverse and innovative. Sony encouraged third-party developers to take creative risks, resulting in unique titles like Parappa the Rapper, Crash Bandicoot, and Gran Turismo. These games expanded gaming genres and attracted a wide audience. Sony also secured exclusive deals with developers, such as Squaresoft, convincing them to release games like Final Fantasy VII exclusively on the PlayStation, which solidified the platform's appeal. The company needed more storage space in games to realize their vision. Nintendo's upcoming Nintendo 64 cartridge-based platform was not cutting it. The convergence of Final Fantasy with the PlayStation platform played a pivotal role in popularizing Japanese role-playing games on the global scale. The game's release showcased the perfect marriage of narrative depth and technological advancement that the PlayStation offered. The first PlayStation's success paved the way for its sequel, the PlayStation 2. The PS2 had its challenges, sure. While developing the PS2 presented its own challenges, Sony built upon the foundation it had established. The PS2 incorporated DVD technology, allowing for larger and more immersive games with intricate narratives and cinematic experiences, like The Getaway, Grand Theft Auto 3, Ico, and Final Fantasy X. With each subsequent iteration, Sony continued to refine its approach to gaming, focusing on storytelling, immersive experiences, and cutting-edge technology. True, the PlayStation 3 era had its stumbling blocks.
Ridge Racer! Remember that one?
So here's this giant enemy crab.
And the 60GB PlayStation 3 for $599 US.
But the company bounced back from that dark period with the PlayStation 4.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
The PlayStation 5 pushed the tech envelope further, offering an enhanced gaming experience through its SSD technology and commitment to AAA blockbuster games with US $200 million budgets. Time will tell if the PS5 will be as successful as its past counterparts. After all, the legacies of the original PlayStation and PlayStation 2 are undeniable. Nonetheless, history has proven that the Sony PlayStation has transformed gaming from a niche hobby to a global phenomenon tailored for a then-new demographic. Sony's willingness to take risks and challenge the status quo led to a revolution that redefined the way we play.
And that is quite a dive into the history of the Sony PlayStation. So here are like 5 of these machines for each generation. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct, although we only included up until the PlayStation 4, as the PlayStation 5 story is still currently unraveling right as we speak. But with each generation, the company has been brazen with its advertising and attitude, standing out from the likes of Nintendo and Sega from way back when, and even taking a shot at Xbox in 2013 with the used game instruction video.
Maybe you like to shed some light about it?
Well, the PlayStation 3 didn't really have a good generation from 2006 all the way till 2012. The Xbox 360 took a massive market share and was ahead of the curve. Then, hubris set in, Microsoft had mixed ideas involving the Kinect, TV integration, and online only with their upcoming console, the Xbox One. Sony essentially had to pull their heads out of their, and stepped up with the PS4 with its clear messaging.
I find that actually rather ironic. The arrogance of Sony during the PlayStation 3 caused them to falter, with that same pride also affecting Xbox when it was during the 2013 Xbox One period. That's a lesson we can all learn. Pride comes before a fall.
I'll say this though, if we were to do a quick list on the, video game industry blunders, I think we would have more than enough materials for 13 episodes.
Indeed we would. But as for now, let's push forward to our next segment that's also PlayStation filled. Stick around, we'll be right back after these commercials. Now we're on to our final segment. We've talked about how incredibly rich with history the Sony PlayStation is. That must mean that PlayStation's library of game must be vast.
That it is. There's an estimated 10,000 unique IPs that have graced any and all PlayStation consoles.
Whoa, okay, that's a lot of games. A lot of blood, sweat and tears must have been put into those games. But in that sea of games, do you have a personal favorite, Luis?
My personal favourite probably has to be Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots from none other than Hideo Kojima. The complex story partnered with the heartstring-pulling cast, innovative stealth gameplay, and an immersive world filled with rich in-game lore, I highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it already.
Well, with that said, that perfectly segues us into our next feature. Kakuchopurei's very own Jonathan discusses some of the most iconic PlayStation games to ever grace the console. Check it out.
Sony PlayStation has consistently delivered unforgettable video games in the history of interactive entertainment. That's not hyperbole. Just look at the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 numbers during the late 90s and 2000s. When you see that brand, you see a treasure trove of gaming experiences. As we said in the History of PlayStation feature we did, the console gave birth to games that have become cultural milestones. The well-known franchise Resident Evil started out here with PlayStation in 1996. The original Resident Evil introduced players to the survival horror genre. Its atmospheric mansion, puzzles, and tense gameplay became synonymous with the PlayStation and laid the foundation for the series. In 1997, gamers all across the world were introduced to the world of Final Fantasy VII. One of the most revered JRPGs of all time, it introduced many gamers to the genre and left a lasting legacy. It had a captivating plot, lovely cinematics and boundary-pushing graphics, lots of questing, and a colourful cast featuring an emo blonde giant sword-wielding protagonist and his childhood friend with a huge pair of eyes. In 1998, we are graced with Metal Gear Solid, Hideo Kojima's stealth action masterpiece, known for its intricate story and innovative gameplay mechanics. On to the PlayStation 2 era. Rockstar Games went exclusive with the console via open-world action title Grand Theft Auto 3, followed by Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Square Enix also continued the PS2 domination trend with Final Fantasy X, a graphical powerhouse and the first in the series to have voice acting. And also the Kingdom Hearts series, which combined Disney characters with Square Enix edgelords. and lovely Yoko Shimomura music. A couple other noteworthy titles joined GTA in the PS2 era. The artistic Wombo combo that is Ico and Shadow the Colossus, Capcom's Devil May Cry, which introduced the character action genre, God of War, the Western developer response to Devil May Cry, and many, many more. Moving to the PlayStation 3 era, in 2013, The Last of Us redefined narrative-driven gaming. The emotional journey it offered was an example of how games could evoke feelings as potent as any movie or novel. With the arrival of PlayStation 4, Horizon Zero Dawn was released in 2017, in which it whisked players away to a post-apocalyptic world populated by robotic creatures. 2018 saw fan favorite Marvel's Spider-Man swing into action, capturing the very essence of being the friendly neighborhood superhero. Its fluid traversal and dynamic combat celebrated the superhero genre in a way that only gaming could. These games represent just a fraction of the incredible titles that have graced each PlayStation console, that have contributed to shaping the gaming landscape and providing memorable experiences for players around the world.
And that was a lovely recap of PlayStation games that made the system and brand be what it is today. Memorable and iconic. What were your favorite PlayStation games back in the days?
Well, I only got my gaming start with the PlayStation 2's mid-years. The two games I recall quite fondly are the Matrix game Path of Neo and Crash Bandicoot Tag Team Racing, the latter of which I completed multiple times. But do you have any experience with PlayStation games, Aoife?
Well, I dabble and I did check out the Last of Us, but only the PlayStation 4 version. The relationship between Joe and Ellie was realistic and heartfelt, really well written and paced out. I'm also happy that there was a HBO TV series adaptation for it, which came out this year. Pedro Pascal is definitely a shoe-in for the role of Joe.
I can tell you that this won't be the last PlayStation game to get adapted into a live-action series. There will be an action adaptation of the God of War series and the Horizon game series. Fingers crossed, they end up half as decent.
All right, okay, and that is all the time we have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's PlayStation Tribute episode. It's such a big topic, so this won't be the last you'll hear about the system and its many achievements and failures. I'm your host, Aoife.
And I'm Lewis from Kakuchopurei.
And may your play have no limits. Long live play. Goodbye.